Well, happy Wednesday. Just got back from taking the boys for a walk. It's a little bit cooler today. It's supposed to be kind of around normal for the next few days, and then it's supposed to start picking up heat again. But God, the fires are just raging in California. It's beyond tragic what's taking place. And they were just reporting today that the fire season really hasn't begun yet. So, to really watch out for the rest of the year. So God knows what's left to burn at this point. These past couple of years have been really astounding, but apparently there's well over 2 million acres have burned so far. It's unbelievable. But and then I was supposed to do a podcast with a gentleman from Surrey outside of London at 9 this morning, and I was up really early, so I contacted him and I said, "How's now?" So we did the podcast at about 7 this morning. So it was good to get that out of the way so that I could then take the dogs out. Otherwise, at 9, I might not have been able to get them out for their walk. Let's see what else. Today I was going to visit a track that is an outtake. Now, one of the greatest times I had was when the section was kind of at the height of its powers, our group, the section, and we were the opening act for Mahavishnu Orchestra. We were out on the road for, I don't know how long we were out for, 5 weeks maybe. And it was an amazing experience. If you do not know who Mahavishnu Orchestra is, dig them on YouTube. It was one of the most ferocious groups of musicians I've ever been around. John McLaughlin, Billy Cobham, great Rick Laird on bass, Jerry Goodman on violin, and Jan Hammer on keys. I mean, just astounding. I mean, we sat every night kind of with our jaws hanging, just kind of watching them play. But it was a really interesting billing because Mahavishnu was really like a jazz fusion group in the very early days, like in like 71, 72. And the section was like a rock fusion group. So we gave the audiences really had a kind of a complete vision of that kind of music between the two of us. Ours was intense, but it was more tangible, I think, probably, because a lot of Mahavishnu's stuff was based on, because Jan, I believe, was from Czechoslovakia, and a lot of the things had those kind of Eastern European, Middle Eastern influences. There was a lot of odd time signature stuff and all that. So they were like, you just sat there going, oh, wow, this is unbelievable. But it was through that situation that I became friends with Billy Cobham, since we were out on the road together. And so when he got his record deal and he was going to go in the studio to do Spectrum, he called me and asked me to come down. I've told this story before, I believe, but it's relevant to today's post. And it was great. I flew to New York on a red eye, got to the studio on Monday morning, and we were at Electric Ladyland in New York. And I walk in the studio, and there's the incredibly fabulous Tommy Bolin playing guitar. Now, Tommy and I were friends back when he was in Zephyr and I was in Wolfgang in the late 60s. So I had no idea he was going to be there, and he had no idea I was going to be there. So it was like an old home week for us. And Jan and Billy. Robert Moog came down to the studio and brought his first electronic drums for Billy to experiment with. And the incredibly great Ken Scott was engineering the album. And we pretty much cut everything we needed to do in 2 days. When you listen to Spectrum, it's 1 or 2 takes of every song. That's it. Then there was 2 songs that were done on, we worked on Monday and Tuesday, and then they had another session on Wednesday. I flew back to LA at that point, and Ron Carter played bass on those, and that was with kind of a big band. They were 2 very different songs on the album. But it was a profound experience. It's one of those things you kind of walk away, and it went by so fast, and it was so intense that you kind of left still trying to catch your breath. And it stands the test to today. Anytime you listen to Spectrum, that album, Red Baron, and all those songs, it's like, man, they feel as fresh today as they did back in 1973 when we recorded it. But we had this one outtake where Ken Scott was dialing in sounds and everything, and he kind of pulled up the tape. They pulled up the faders and started recording kind of in the middle of a jam. And so it's ended up showing up on bootlegs and stuff, and it's called All for One. But this was basically, as far as I remember, this was just us warming up. And I think it was like 8 a.m. or something like that. So I thought I'd play that for you because there's no visuals or anything to this. So this is All for One, Billy Cobham, from when we did Spectrum. So here we go. They were focusing on like drums and stuff at this point, so the guitar's not up, but So that's an outtake. That wasn't even a track for the album. It was, I believe, Ken just getting sounds and everything. But I think that was around 8 or 9 somewhere between 8 and 9 in the morning that we cut that after I flew in on a red-eye flight. So it was intense. I'll say that. I mean, Billy is just it's like, strapping on a freight train when you play, especially that period with him was just amazing. And we always kind of wished we would have gone on the road with that, because when we did the album, we never played again until 30 years later, when Billy called me to do a Spectrum reunion tour. And he said, "Oh, it's been 30 years. You want to play the songs again?" It was like, oh, man. And Tommy had long since passed away, so Dean Brown played guitar. And Gary Husband, who's a monstrous drummer, was the keyboard player on the tour. So it was Billy and Dean and Gary and myself. And we went out and we did it was like 17 shows in 18 days. It was like just a ferocious schedule. And we were doing 2 sets a night. We were doing all of Spectrum, and I think we did a bunch of songs from Crosswinds and stuff. But it was a trip. It was really a lot of fun. And I'm forever grateful that I got to be a part of this really monumental album. So if you've never heard Spectrum, check it out. It's just a great piece of work. And Tommy Bolin just played his ass off. He was one of the greatest guitar players, and this was really kind of almost at the height of his powers. And everything on the album is live. I mean, I've pointed it out before. One of the songs where Tommy breaks his guitar string in the middle of his solo, and just kept on playing. It's on the record. I can hear it every time I hear this little, and that was his E string breaking. So that's that. I'm going over to see Blue. I'm gonna be picking his brain. We're going over some things about now the next step of the book to deal with. And then I'm totally excited because at 3:00 is my live stream with the club members. And we'll be yakking away for a few hours this afternoon. So it's 3 p.m. Pacific time, Pacific Standard Time. So if you're joining it, make sure you check that. But there should be notices that are sent out to let you know that it's today. So take good care. For those of you who are going to be joining me, I will see you this afternoon at 3:00. I may post one more thing. Somebody sent me a request and said, more barefoot servants. So I might do that after this. Let me see what I got in there and see what the clock looks like, and we'll take it from there. If not, I'll see some of you this afternoon, and otherwise I'll see everybody else tomorrow. So take good care. Have a great day. Thoughts for everybody out there working it. And it's getting long in the tooth, but not going away. So be careful and be safe. And really a big shout out to the people working the fire department, the men and women who are fighting these fires. You are true heroes. You are putting it all out. I can't even imagine what you're going through. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. So take good care. See you later.